So I'm wondering, when you're working with coding agents, are you on the team which just lets the coding agent do every action without asking for approval? Or are you on the other side on the team which reviews every action one by one? Well, none of these two options really seem the right way forward. And while most coding harnesses allow you to actually couple a static decision to a particular action, most of the time this isn't enough and you want some contextual awareness. That's why today I actually want to talk about policies in Omnigent. First, let's discuss how these policies in Omnigent compare to policies of traditional harnesses. What are policies actually? So very simply explained, policies are actually some kind of decision that you can tie to an action. Or you allow that action, or you ask for approval from the user, or you deny that action totally. So what's the difference now between Omnigent and other harnesses is that these policies are dynamic and stateful. So let's discuss now with an example what that actually means. So here are two hypothetical sessions and they are very similar. Let's say that the user asks the agent to summarize something on a particular topic. And for this, the agent needs to retrieve a couple of documents and it generates then a summary for the user. The user also prefers that the summary is actually posted into Slack so that their colleagues can also see it. Now, what's the difference between these two sessions? Is that documents in the first session are not sensitive documents at all. But in the second session, to give a good summary, the agent actually needs to retrieve information, a document with PII information. With the traditional harness, we already said that the same decision is always coupled to the same action. So for example here, for posting to Slack with a traditional harness, you would want that the agent asks the user if it can post into Slack, independently on what happened in the session before. But with Omnigent, you can actually make sure that you tie the decision based on what happened in the session. For example, here in the first session, the agent didn't see any sensitive documents, so we can just approve the agent to post into Slack. Now, for the second session, we actually saw that the agent retrieved some sensitive documents. So, and because of this, Omnigent can just directly deny this action. So, what I still want to discuss before I show how these policies look in the Omnigent UI, I want to tell you that you can actually set policies on 3 different levels, and we will also show them soon in the UI. So the first one is actually on server level. That means that these policies apply to all users and sessions happening on that server. Second one is on agent level. So if you define an agent in Omnigent, you can actually tie policies to it. And the last one is on session level. So for each session independently, you can also set policies. Now let's have a look how these policies actually look within Omnigent itself. So let's now show how you can set these policies in practice. So for session level policies, you can actually go within each session to the info icon and click here on policies and set a policy for a session level. You can also just ask Omnigent here to actually set a session level policy. Keep in mind that, as the name indicates, session level policies are set per session. So if you would add a new session, you would also need to set a new policy. Then we can also set server level policies, but this only admins can set. And to do so, you can go here to the settings icon and then to the policies tab. Here, when you click add policies, you can again find the same built-in policies we just showed for the session level. So if you want to set policies on server level, the UI is not the only way to do it. So what you also can do is actually set the policies in the server config and then pass this configuration during the setup of the server. The last level where you can set policies is on the agent level. And the way to do that is actually set the policies in the agent config file. So when you create a custom agent in Omnigent, you actually do that through agent config file, and an example of that you can see here. And within that agent config file, you again see very similar like the server level block for setting policies. So let's dive a bit deeper in a couple of these policies. So here on agent level, I actually set a built-in policies, which is called the session risk score. This session risk score is actually a policy where you can tie a number of points, so a number of risk points to a certain action. Here I set, for example, 15 points when we're using shell commands. And I actually only allow a maximum threshold of 30, and afterwards we will deny all actions related to shell commands. So let's show that. To do so, I want to run this agent within Omnigent, and one way you can do that is by running the command omnirun and then the config of the agent. So what we said is that we actually don't allow shell commands. So if I actually then ask 2 times to the agent to actually list the directory, then normally it should, after the second time, so on the third time, it actually should block this command. So here we're running it the first time. Then we're running the same command a second time. So normally it should be fine. So the first time the risk score was 15. Now the second time the risk score should be 30. And then the last time it should block what I just asked the agent to do. So here it then indeed says it crossed the session risk score. So now I want to show you another out-of-the-box example, and this one we will set on server level, and this is the session cost guard. So it's another built-in policy, and what we do here is actually once the session reaches $2, we actually ask for approval, and then when the session reaches $5, it will normally deny any further conversation. To apply this config YAML, we actually have to pass this config to the Omnigent server command. And then we will check how that looks in Omnigent. Here I already have like 2 examples. One example where we already are over the $6 mark, and one example where we are over the $2 mark. So normally if I say here hi, it should indeed ask for approval for further continuation. And on the other side, when I say here hi, it normally should be blocking this request. And you see that that is what it actually does. So now to finish, I want to go one level deeper and show you how you can create custom policies and then also expose it to all other users on the server. So what you can do if you want to write a custom policy is actually write a Python module. A policy callable actually expects an input event dictionary and output dictionary in a certain structure. And the documentation gives you an example of how this input and output dictionary may look like. In this example, we actually deny certain tool calls outside business hours or outside set of hours we defined. Then it's still important that we actually export this policy registry and also register the policy module here in the config.yaml. So that's the same server config as we showed in the cost example. So now if we run the server, so if we check here back in Omnigent, then on the session policies, we actually see a new policy which we just added, which is this business hour gate. So now let's, for example, again, deny some shell commands outside of business hours. So, and then if I here ask to list the directory content again, it normally should deny it. So here it then indeed shows that it's not possible to list the directory contents. And that's because of this business hour policy that we created. So this is everything I wanted to show you regarding policies in Omnigent for now. So I hope you liked this video, and if you did so, feel free to give this video a like and subscribe to this channel to see me doing more videos about Databricks. See you in the next one.